The stars rippled like water as 12,000 warships tore through the fabric of space. Commander Taman stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching Earth grow larger on the view screen. His 3 hearts beat faster than they had in decades. This was the moment the Galactic Council had planned for over a century. Today, humanity would finally answer for their defiance. Taman was a Vrexian, tall and covered in blue scales that shimmered under the ship's lights. He had fought in 17 campaigns across the galaxy, but none scared him like this one. Humans were different. They fought like cornered animals, never surrendering even when defeat was certain. The Council's intelligence reports were filled with horror stories of human tactics and determination. His second officer, Jiho, approached from the tactical station. Jiho was younger, his scales still bright green, but he had studied human warfare more than anyone in the fleet. He looked worried, which made Taman's stomach twist with unease. "Commander, we're picking up nothing from Earth's defense grid," Jiho said quietly. "No weapons locks, no targeting systems, no communications challenges. It's like the entire planet is asleep." Taman frowned. This made no sense. Humanity had built the most paranoid defense network the galaxy had ever seen. Automated weapons platforms orbiting every major planet. Missile bases hidden in asteroid fields. Even their moon was supposedly one giant fortress. The Council had lost 3 scout fleets just trying to map the system's outer defenses. Could it be a trap? Tingen asked, though he already knew the answer. Humans loved traps. They thought in ways that confused every other species in the galaxy. Jiho checked his screens again, his clawed fingers moving quickly across the controls. "I don't think so, sir. We're scanning the entire electromagnetic spectrum. There's emergency power running in the cities, but no active defense systems. No ships moving in the orbital lanes. No radio traffic, nothing." The bridge crew worked in tense silence as the fleet moved deeper into Earth's solar system. They passed Mars first. The human colonies there sat dark and empty, their domes intact but lifeless. The asteroid mining stations showed the same eerie abandonment. Equipment was still in place, but no one was operating it. Taman ordered scout ships forward. Small, fast vessels broke formation and raced toward Earth's moon while the main fleet held position near Mars. The wait felt like hours, though it was barely 20 minutes. When the scouts reported back, their messages only deepened the mystery. "Sir, the moon bases are vacant," the lead scout captain said over the communication channel. "We're reading power signatures from the main facility, but no life signs anywhere. It's like they all just walked away." Taman looked at Jiho. His young officer's face showed the same confusion Taman felt. Where were the humans? Where were the millions of soldiers they had expected to fight? Where were the planetary cannons that could punch holes through battleship hulls? "Take us into Earth orbit," Taman commanded. "Battle formation. Shields at maximum. If this is a trap, we need to be ready." The massive fleet moved forward like a swarm of metal insects, surrounding Earth from every angle. Taman stared at the blue and green planet below. It looked peaceful, beautiful, even. White clouds swirled over the oceans. City lights dotted the night side of the world. But something was terribly wrong. "Launch atmospheric probes," Taman ordered. "I want detailed scans of every major city. Find out what happened here." The probes entered Earth's atmosphere and streaked toward the largest population centers. The data they sent back made no sense. The cities were intact. Buildings stood undamaged. Vehicles sat on roads as if their drivers had simply vanished mid-journey. But there were no people. Not a single human life sign registered anywhere on the planet Minji. The fleet's xenarchaeologist was called to the bridge. She was a Corthan, small and gray-skinned with large eyes, adapted for low light. She had spent her career studying dead civilizations, but she had never expected to study humanity's end. "This is impossible," Minji said as she reviewed the probe data. "There are meals still on tables, children's toys left in parks, medical facilities with equipment still running, but no bodies, no signs of disease or war. It's like 9 billion people just decided to leave at the same moment." Teenan felt a chill run through his body. He had seen planets die before. He had witnessed the aftermath of wars, plagues, and natural disasters. But he had never seen anything like this. This was too clean, too organized. Death left evidence. This was something else entirely. "Commander, I'm detecting unusual chemical traces in the upper atmosphere," Jiho said suddenly. "Unknown compounds, highly concentrated. They're approximately 2 years old, based on atmospheric dispersion patterns." Teenan moved to look at Jiho's screen. The chemical signature was unlike anything in the Council's database. It wasn't a weapon residue or a biological agent. It looked almost like exhaust from a fusion drive, but the scale was enormous. Whatever had produced this signature, it had been massive. "Sir, I recommend we send a landing party," Minji said. "We need to examine the surface directly. The answers are down there." Teenan knew she was right, but protocol was clear. Landing on an enemy world without establishing complete orbital superiority was forbidden. Yet Earth offered no resistance. The legendary human defenses were simply gone, as if they had never existed. "Prepare a landing party," Taman said finally. "Select a team of 20. Include combat specialists and scientists." We land at dawn in one of their major cities. As his crew rushed to follow his orders, Taman looked back at Earth. The planet spun slowly beneath his fleet, silent and empty. Somewhere down there, humanity had left a message. He just had to find it. The landing craft descended through Earth's atmosphere as the sun rose over Asia. Taman had chosen Seoul as the landing site because Council intelligence had marked it as a major military center. If humanity had left clues about their disappearance, a city of 20 million would have them. The craft touched down in the middle of a wide street. The team stepped out into the morning air, weapons ready, but they were met only by silence. Buildings rose on all sides, their windows dark. A few birds called from nearby trees. The city looked like it was waiting for people to return, but somehow everyone knew they never would. Hyen Woo led the combat team. He was a Kravik, tall and muscular with 4 arms that could each hold a weapon. He had survived conflicts on a dozen worlds, but something about this empty city made his combat instincts scream danger. Yet there was nothing to fight, no enemy to face. Minji walked beside Taman, her scanning equipment held in her small hands. She moved slowly, recording everything. This was her dream and nightmare combined. An entire civilization gone in an instant, leaving everything behind for her to study. "The air is clean," she reported. "No toxins, no radiation, no biological agents. Whatever happened here, it wasn't a weapon we know about." They moved deeper into the city. Cars sat abandoned on the road, their doors still closed. A cafe had tables set for breakfast, the food now 2 years old and covered in dust. A school stood with its doors open, digital boards still showing math lessons from the day everyone left. Taman felt something twist in his chest. This wasn't war. War left destruction, bodies, evidence of struggle. This was something planned, something organized. The humans had known they were leaving and had prepared for it. The team split into groups to search faster. Hyunwoo took his soldiers to check the military installations marked on their maps. Minji led the scientists to what their database said was a university. Tingen and Jiho headed toward the city center, where government buildings would hold records. They found the presidential complex empty like everything else. The guard stations were vacant. Offices were neat and organized. Computer systems were shut down properly, not abandoned in panic. In the main security center, Jiho found data terminals still connected to the city's network. "I can access their files," Jiho said, his claws clicking on the keyboard. "Their security is still active, but the encryption is old. Give me an hour." While Jiho worked, Timin explored the building. He found a residential area where human leaders had apparently lived. The rooms were personal, filled with photographs and belongings. He picked up a picture frame showing a human family, smiling at the camera. A mother, father, and 2 children. Where were they now? Minji's voice came through his communicator. "Commander, you need to see this. We found something at the university." Tamin hurried back to the landing craft and flew to the university campus. Minji met him at the entrance to a large building, her eyes wide with excitement and fear. "They left journals," she said. "Personal accounts, data logs, everything. The humans documented what they were doing. They wanted someone to find this." Inside the building, Minji had set up a temporary lab. Screens showed translations of human writing, video logs, and official reports. Tamin began reading, and with each line, the mystery deepened. 6 months before Earth went silent, human deep space sensors detected something. Not the Council fleet, which was still 2 years away. Something else. The reports called it the signal. Whatever it was, it came from unknown space and terrified humanity's scientists. But what scared Timin more was humanity's response. Instead of panic, they'd activated something called Protocol Exodus. The journal entries talked about it calmly, like it was something they had always planned for. Families reported to collection centers. Cities were evacuated in organized waves. Everyone knew what to do. "They planned to leave Earth," Minji said. "Not because of us, but because they always knew they might have to. Look at this." She showed him construction records from 50 years ago. Massive facilities built underground, hidden from orbital sensors. Thousands of them scattered across every continent. The records called them waste station sites. Hyanwoo's voice interrupted on the communicator. "Commander, we found one of those facilities. You need to see this right now." Timin and Minji flew to the coordinates Hyanwoo sent. On the city's edge, hidden beneath what looked like a shopping district, was an entrance to something vast. The combat team had already secured the area and established lights. Down into the darkness, they descended into the earth for nearly a kilometer. The tunnel opened into a cavern so large that Tamin could not see the far wall. And filling that space were rows of hibernation pods. Thousands of them, stretching away into the darkness. "They're all empty," Hyanwoo said. "Every single one was used and opened from the inside. The system logs show they activated 2 years ago, kept people asleep for 6 months, and woke them up and released them." Minji examined the pods closely. "These are advanced. More advanced than anything in the Council's medical technology. The humans could have kept people in suspended animation for decades if needed. But they only use 6 months. Why?" Tamin walked among the empty pods, his mind racing. The facility had support systems for thousands of people. Food synthesizers, water recycling, air scrubbers. Everything you would need for a long journey. Then he understood. "This wasn't a shelter," he said quietly. "This was a staging area. They'd put people to sleep here while they prepared something. Then they woke them up and moved them somewhere else." Jiho's voice came through the communicator, excited and breathless. "Commander, I've broken through their encryption. You need to hear this. The humans didn't die. They didn't surrender. They left Earth completely. All 9 billion of them." Timin felt his 3 hearts skip a beat. 9 billion people. Gone. But where could they have gone? There were no human colonies outside this system. The Council had made sure of that. "There's more," Jiho continued. "I found navigational data. Launch windows. Trajectory calculations. Commander, the humans built ships. Thousands of them. And they launched them all at the same time. Timon looked up at the ceiling of the cavern, as if he could see through the rock to the sky above. That chemical signature in the atmosphere. The exhaust from fusion drives. Not weapons fire or a disaster. Humanity had built an evacuation fleet in secret and used it to abandon their homeworld. But where had they gone? And more importantly, why had they left now, before the council even arrived? Minji's voice was soft beside him. They knew we were coming. They knew they couldn't win a direct fight, so they chose not to fight at all. They chose to survive instead. Tammin understood then what terrified him. The council had come to destroy humanity, to eliminate the threat they posed. But you can't destroy what you can't find. And humanity had just scattered to the stars. Tammin ordered the entire science team down to Earth. Whatever secrets humanity had left behind, he needed to understand them all. The council had to know what they were facing. And every hour brought new discoveries that made the situation more complicated. Minji worked without sleep for 3 days, translating files and piecing together humanity's final years. What she found was both impressive and terrifying. The humans had not been caught by surprise. They had been preparing for this exact scenario for 200 years. Look at this timeline, Minji said, displaying her findings on a large screen in the university lab. 2 centuries ago, humans detected council scouts observing their system. They knew someone was watching. They knew eventually that someone would see them as a threat. Tainen studied the timeline. Humanity's response had been calculated and methodical. They built weapons and trained armies, yes. But they also started something called Project Wanderer. A backup plan. A way to ensure humanity survived even if Earth fell. They built shipyards, Jiho said, pointing to orbital construction records. Not near Earth where we could see them. Out in the Oort cloud, hidden among billions of ice chunks. They built them slowly over decades, using automated systems that required minimal human presence. The scale of it was staggering. Humanity had constructed 4,000 generation ships, each capable of carrying 2 million people in hibernation. The ships were designed to travel for centuries, sustaining their passengers until they reached habitable worlds. But how did they know where to go? Timon asked. The galaxy is vast. Finding habitable worlds takes careful surveying and planning. Minji pulled up another file. They didn't know. They didn't care. Look at their target selection process. They programmed each ship with a different random trajectory. Some aimed for known star systems. Others pointed at empty space between the spiral arms. Some headed toward the galactic core. They just scattered in every direction. Timon felt a chill run through his body. This was not an evacuation. This was not even a colonization effort. This was humanity deliberately breaking itself apart and spreading across the galaxy like seeds on the wind. Even if the council found and destroyed 100 colonies, thousands more would survive. Hyunwoo had been exploring the military installations and returned with equally disturbing news. The weapons are all still here, he reported. Planetary defense cannons, missile silos, orbital strike platforms. Everything is intact and functional. How? They could have fought us. The defenses we feared are real. But they chose not to use them. They made a calculation, Jiho said. Fight and possibly win, but take heavy casualties. Or leave and guarantee survival. They chose survival. Taemin walked to the window and looked out at Seoul's empty streets. Somewhere in this city, human families had said goodbye to their homes. They had packed what they could carry and reported to the way station facilities. They had trusted their leaders to take them somewhere safe, even if that meant never seeing Earth again. There's something else, Minji said quietly. I found references to genetic diversity protocols. Each ship carried carefully selected populations to ensure maximum genetic variation. They also carried cultural archives, technological databases, and even frozen embryos of Earth's plants and animals. Each ship is carrying a complete snapshot of human civilization. They're not just surviving, Tiemann said, understanding flooding through him. They're ensuring that even if some colonies fail, the ones that succeed will be genetically and culturally diverse. In a few generations, each colony will start to develop differently. Different cultures, different technologies, different adaptations to their new worlds. Jiho nodded. And they're doing it deliberately. The ships have no way to communicate with each other. Each colony will be isolated, free to evolve on its own. Within a few centuries, the word human won't describe one species anymore. It will describe thousands of related but distinct populations. The implications were staggering. The Council had feared humanity because they were aggressive and unpredictable. Now humanity had just become impossible to eliminate. You would have to find every single colony, scattered across the entire galaxy, and destroy them all. Miss even one, and humanity would rebuild. A signal from the fleet interrupted his thoughts. One of the scout teams on the moon had found something. Tiemann returned to orbit immediately, taking Minji and Jiho with him. The lunar facility was massive, built deep inside one of the moon's largest craters. Unlike the surface installations, this one was still fully operational. Power flowed through its systems. Computers processed data. And at its heart was something the Council had never seen before. It's a quantum communication array, Minji explained, studying the alien technology with fascination. But not like anything we use. This is designed to transmit data instantly across any distance by entangling particles. The humans must have placed receivers on every generation ship. Can we intercept the signals? Tiemann asked. No, Minji said. Quantum entanglement doesn't work that way. The data only exists between the two entangled points. But we can see that signals are being sent. And more importantly, we can see that signals are being received. The ships are responding. Tiemann moved closer to the display showing signal activity. Hundreds of indicators pulsed with light. Each one represented a generation ship somewhere in the galaxy, checking in with the lunar base. Each one represented a human colony that had already begun establishing itself on a new world. How many? Tiemann asked. 312 confirmed colonies already established. Jiho read from the data stream. Another 800 ships still in transit. The rest, we can't tell. Either they haven't checked in yet, or they're maintaining communication silence. 300 worlds. 800 more coming. And possibly 3,000 more that were hiding their existence. The Council had come to eliminate one threat and found it had multiplied into thousands. Haiyan Wu examined the facility's defenses and his face showed concern. Commander, this installation has its own power source. Geothermal taps going deep into the moon's core. Enough energy to run for thousands of years. And it's protected by an automated defense grid that makes Earth's orbital weapons look primitive. The humans left this as a monument, Minji said softly. A functioning archive of their exodus. They want someone to find it. They want the Council to know what they did. Tiemann understood. This wasn't just a communication hub. It was a message. Humanity was showing the Council that they had lost before the war even began. You couldn't conquer an enemy that refused to be found. Sir, there's something else, Jiho said, his voice tense. The facility has a transmission ready to broadcast. It's been waiting for a specific trigger, and that trigger is the arrival of a Council fleet in Earth orbit. Tiemann felt his blood run cold. Can you stop it? I don't think we should try, Minji said. If it's rigged with defenses, Attempting to shut it down could trigger worse consequences. And honestly, I think the humans want us to hear whatever message they left. Taman looked around at his team. They had come here to conquer Earth and found it already conquered by its own people. Now, they were about to hear from the humans themselves, a message sent from 2 years in the past. Let it play, Taman said. Whatever they have to say, the council needs to hear it. Jiho activated the transmission. A hologram flickered to life in the center of the room. A human woman appeared, middle-aged with gray hair and kind eyes. She wore formal clothing and stood in what looked like an office. My name is Soman, the woman said, and I was the last president of Earth. The hologram of Soman stood calmly in the center of the lunar facility. Her image was crystal clear, as if she was actually present in the room. Taman and his team watched in silence as the recorded message began. If you are watching this, then you have arrived at Earth expecting to find us, Soman said. Her voice was steady, without fear or anger. By now, you have discovered that we are gone. I imagine that confuses you. Perhaps it even frightens you. Good. You should be frightened. Taman felt his 3 hearts beat faster. This human woman, dead or light years away, still had the power to make him uneasy. We detected your fleet 2 years before you arrived, Soman continued. We knew you were coming. We knew what you intended to do. The Galactic Council has a long history of eliminating species that refuse to submit to your control. We studied that history carefully. Menji moved closer to the hologram, recording everything. This was exactly what they needed. Confirmation of what humanity knew and when they knew it. We could have fought you, Soman said. Our defenses were strong. We had weapons that would have torn your fleet apart. We had soldiers ready to die defending their homes. And we might have won. But winning would have cost us millions of lives. It would have made us the monsters you already believe we are. The hologram paused, and Soman's expression softened. We are not monsters. We are not conquerors. We are simply a young species trying to survive in a galaxy that sees us as a threat. So we made a choice. We chose to survive without fighting. We chose to scatter to the stars. Jiho was recording the transmission data, analyzing every detail. She's not lying, he whispered. The emotional markers in her voice patterns showed genuine conviction. She believes every word she's saying. 9 billion people left Earth over a 3-year period, Soman continued. We built 4,000 generation ships in secret. Each ship carries a complete cross-section of humanity. Families from every continent, every culture, every walk of life. We ensured maximum genetic diversity and cultural preservation. The hologram changed, showing a star map of the galaxy. Thousands of trajectories have spread out from Earth in every direction, like rays from a sun. Each ship was programmed with a random course. We don't know where most of them will end up. We designed it that way. You cannot destroy what you cannot find. Taman understood the brilliance of it. Even if humanity gave the Council every detail of their plan, it wouldn't help. The randomness was the defense. The chaos was the strategy. Some colonies will fail, Soman admitted. Ships will malfunction. Worlds will prove inhospitable. Disasters will happen. But many will succeed. They are succeeding already. As I record this message, the first wave of ships is approaching their destinations. By the time you watch this, hundreds of human colonies will exist across the galaxy. Hyunwoo crossed his arms, his forehands clenching into fists. She's not just explaining what they did. She's boasting about it. She wants us to know we failed. And within a century, Soman said, as if she had heard Hyeon Woo's comment, those colonies will send out their own colony ships. Each successful world will seed 10 more, then 100 more. Within a few generations, humanity will exist on tens of thousands of worlds. We will become impossible to track, impossible to control, impossible to eliminate. The star map animation showed the spread accelerating. Points of light multiplying, spreading, filling the galaxy with human presence. It was like watching a virus spread, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. But we did not just run and hide, someone said, and her voice took on an edge. We left Earth as a monument. A reminder. A warning. The hologram showed Earth from orbit, serene and beautiful. The planet you see below you is not undefended. It is protected by an automated defense network powered by geothermal energy from the planet's core. This network will remain active for the next 10,000 years. Red indicators appeared around Earth on the hologram, showing defensive positions. Any attempt to land colonists on Earth, any attempt to claim our world, will trigger a system-wide response. The defense grid has been programmed with one final protocol. If triggered, it will detonate the antimatter reserves we left in the planet's crust. The explosion will sterilize everything within 5 light years. Teeman felt sick. They were standing in that radius. The entire fleet was within the blast zone. If they had tried to claim Earth, they would have triggered their own destruction. We don't want to kill you, someone said. We never did. But we will not allow you to erase our history. Earth will stand as a memorial to human civilization. Empty, but preserved. A reminder that we existed, we thrived, and we chose freedom over submission. Minji was trembling. They weaponized their own planet. They turned their homeworld into a trap. But that's not all we left behind, someone said, and now she smiled. It was not a cruel smile, but it was knowing, confident. In every city, in every archive, in every data center across Earth, we have stored something valuable. Information. The hologram changed again, showing vast databases. We documented everything we learned about the Galactic Council. Your history. Your expansion. Your methods. Every species you suppressed or destroyed. Every crime you committed in the name of stability. Every lie you told about maintaining peace. Taemin exchanged glances with Jiho. This was worse than any weapon. We built a quantum beacon network, Soman explained. Hundreds of transmitters hidden across Earth, powered by the same geothermal sources that run the defense grid. These beacons broadcast our collected information constantly, in every direction, in every known language. She's telling every species in the galaxy what the Council has done, Minji said. She's exposing everything. Eventually, someone will listen, Soman said. Some young species newly reaching space will detect our broadcasts. They will learn what we learned. They will understand that the Galactic Council does not maintain peace. You maintain control, and you destroy anyone who threatens that control. The hologram of Soman looked directly at the camera, as if she could see through time to the Council officers watching. We are not your enemy. We never were. But we refuse to be your victims. We refuse to let you erase us from existence. We have scattered to the stars, and we have left behind the truth about who you really are. Taemin wanted to look away, but couldn't. This dead woman's words were a weapon more dangerous than any missile to the younger species who will find this message. We say this: do not trust the Council's promises. They will offer you protection, technology, membership in their society. But the price is your freedom. The price is your future. The price is everything that makes you unique. Humanity chose a different path, Soman continued. We chose uncertainty over safety. We chose freedom over comfort. We chose to risk everything on the chance that we might survive as ourselves rather than submit and survive as pets. The hologram began to fade. Soman's final words echoed through the facility. The Galactic Council came to destroy us, but they arrived too late. Earth is a silent tomb, but it is not our grave. It is yours. A monument to your failure. A reminder that control is an illusion. And a warning to any species who values their freedom. Goodbye, Galactic Council. We won't meet again. We made sure of that. The hologram vanished. The room fell silent except for the hum of computers and the distant sound of the facility's power systems. Tiemann stood frozen, trying to process what he had just heard. The Council had sent 12,000 ships to eliminate a threat. Instead, they had found evidence of their greatest defeat. Humanity had not been destroyed. They had multiplied. And they had weaponized information itself. Commander, Jiho said quietly, what do we tell the Council? Tiemann ordered the immediate withdrawal of the fleet from Earth's orbit. The antimatter threat was real, and he would not risk 12,000 ships on the chance that Soman had been bluffing. The human president had not struck him as someone who made empty threats. The journey back to Council space took 3 weeks. During that time, Tiemann barely slept. He spent every waking hour reviewing the data his team had collected, trying to find some solution to the problem humanity had created. But the more he looked, the worse it became. Minji had assembled a comprehensive report on human dispersal patterns. Based on the trajectories we recovered and the colony signals we detected, I estimate that within 50 years, humanity will exist on at least 2,000 worlds. Within a century, 10,000. And each of those colonies will continue spreading. Can we track them? Tiemann asked, though he already knew the answer. No, Minji said flatly. The generation ships use random courses. Some headed for known star systems, but most went toward unexplored space. Even if we devoted every Council resource to searching, we would never find them all. The galaxy is simply too vast. Jiho had analyzed the strategic implications. His report was even grimmer. Humanity has transformed from a localized threat to a distributed crisis. Within 2 generations, human colonies will begin making contact with other species. They will share technology. They will form alliances. They will spread the information they left on Earth. The younger species will learn what the Council has done, Hinwu added. Every suppressed civilization, every destroyed culture, every species we eliminated because they refused to submit. It will all become public knowledge. Tiemann looked at his senior staff. They all understood what this meant. The Galactic Council's authority rested on the belief that they maintained peace and stability. If that belief was shattered, if species learned the Council's true history, everything would collapse. The Council convened an emergency session as soon as Tiemann's fleet reached the capital world. Representatives from 47 species filled the grand chamber. Tiemann stood before them and delivered his report, holding nothing back. The chamber erupted in chaos. Some Council members demanded immediate military action. Send fleets to every star system. Search every world. We must find and eliminate every human colony before they spread further. Others recognized the futility. It would take 10,000 years and every ship we have, and we would still fail. Humanity was too careful, too thorough. A senior counselor, an ancient being whose species had founded the Council millennia ago, demanded silence. When the chamber quieted, she spoke. This is unprecedented. Never in the Council's history has a species escaped our control through voluntary diaspora. We must decide how to respond. The debate raged for hours. Some advocated total war, hunting down every trace of humanity regardless of cost. Others suggested ignoring the humans, hoping they would destroy themselves through isolation and conflict. A few even suggested the impossible, adapting to humanity's existence and changing Council policies. Tiemann listened to it all, saying nothing. He had seen Earth. He had walked through Seoul's empty streets. He had watched Summon's message. He understood what most of the council did not. Humanity had already won. During a recess, Jiho found Taemin standing alone on a balcony overlooking the capital city. "What are you thinking, Commander?" "I'm thinking that we created this situation ourselves," Taemin said quietly. "If we had approached humanity with diplomacy instead of threats, if we had offered genuine partnership instead of demanding submission, none of this would have happened." "You cannot say that in the council chamber," Jiho warned. "They would see it as treason." "Perhaps it is," Taemin replied. "But it is also the truth." Minji joined them, carrying her datapad. "I have been studying human history from the archives we recovered. Do you know what I found? Humans have always been like this. Whenever they faced extinction or conquest, they scattered. They migrated. They spread. It is written into their very nature. We never had any chance of containing them. So what do we do?" Hyemwoo asked, appearing from the shadows. "The council will not accept defeat. They will continue trying to eliminate humanity, even if it bankrupts us." Taemin turned to face his team. These were people he trusted, people who had fought beside him for years. "I think we need to tell them something they do not want to hear. We need to tell them the truth." When the council reconvened, Taemin requested permission to speak. "I have commanded your fleets for 20 years. I have fought in 17 campaigns. I have seen civilizations rise and fall. And I tell you now, with complete certainty, that the Galactic Council cannot defeat humanity." The chamber erupted in angry shouts. Taemin waited for silence and continued. "You can send fleets to hunt them. You can destroy the colonies you find. But you will never find them all. And every colony you destroy will only prove to the survivors that they were right to flee. Are you suggesting we surrender to these primitives?" A counselor demanded. "I am suggesting we adapt," Taemin said. "Humanity is no longer one species on one world. They are becoming thousands of distinct populations across the galaxy. Within a few generations, they will be as diverse as the species represented in this chamber. Some will be peaceful. Some will be aggressive. Some will seek contact with other species. Some will remain isolated. Then we treat them as we treat other species," Minji added, stepping forward beside Taemin. "We make treaties with the peaceful ones. We defend ourselves against the aggressive ones. We allow them to exist and evolve naturally." "And the information they left behind?" another counselor asked. "The broadcasts about our history?" "We cannot stop the broadcasts," Taemin said. "The beacons on Earth are autonomous and self-powered. But we can acknowledge our past and commit to doing better. We can prove that the Council's history does not define our future." The debate continued for days. In the end, the Council made no official decision. They could not agree on a unified response to humanity's exodus. Some members secretly sent hunters after human colonies. Others opened channels for peaceful contact. Most did nothing, hoping the problem would somehow resolve itself. But on the moon above Earth, the quantum beacon continued its endless transmission. Someone's message broadcast across the galaxy in every direction, waiting for someone to hear it. And across thousands of distant stars, humans emerged from their hibernation pods. They looked up at alien skies and began building new civilizations. Some colonies thrived. Some struggled. Some failed entirely. But humanity endured. On a world 20,000 light years from Earth, a woman named Dahi held her newborn daughter and looked up at the night sky. She could not see Earth from here. She would never see the world her ancestors left behind. But she knew its story. "Your great-grandmother was born on Earth," Dahi told her daughter softly. "She made the journey so that you could be born free, so that you could live on your own terms, so that you would never have to bow to anyone." The baby looked up at her mother with curious eyes, too young to understand. But one day she would. One day, All human children across the galaxy would learn the story of Earth's final days. They would learn about the choice their ancestors made: survival through sacrifice, freedom through dispersal, victory through voluntary exile. Timon resigned from his position in the Council military. He returned to his homeworld and wrote a memoir about his experiences. In it, he described walking through Seoul's empty streets and understanding, for the first time, what true determination looked like. The Galactic Council came to destroy humanity, he wrote. But we arrived too late. Earth was already a tomb, but not a grave. It was a monument to human will, a reminder that some species would rather scatter to the stars than submit to control. We thought we were hunting prey. We thought we were eliminating a threat. Instead, we witnessed the birth of a new era. An era where the galaxy was too large for any single power to control. Where species could choose their own destinies. Where freedom meant more than safety. Earth stands silent now, empty but protected. A warning to those who seek to conquer. A promise to those who seek to survive. And a beginning for a species that refused to end. Minji eventually left the council entirely and devoted her life to studying human colonies. She visited dozens of worlds where humans had settled, documenting how they adapted and evolved. Each colony was unique, shaped by its environment and circumstances. Some became pacifists. Some became warriors. Some focused on art and culture. Others pursued science and exploration. Humanity is not one thing anymore, she wrote in her final report. They are becoming a spectrum of possibility, and that is what makes them impossible to eliminate. You cannot fight chaos. You cannot conquer diversity. You can only acknowledge it and adapt. On Earth, the defense systems remained active. The quantum beacons continued broadcasting. The cities stood empty but preserved, waiting. And somewhere in the Council archives, sealed and classified, was Summon's complete message. The warning that came too late. The truth the Council tried to hide. We are humanity. We are scattered. We are free. And we will never be slaves.